Began on Friday with a win for the bottom club Norwich, and then on Saturday some extremely potentially pivotal results. Another defeat for Brighton, 8 without a win. Bournemouth thought they had all 3 points against Chelsea but got a point, as did Newcastle and Burnley at St James's Park. A huge win for David Moyes and West Ham United at home to Southampton, and the big headline defeat for the previous unbeaten league leaders this season, Liverpool at Watford. That's where we begin. The team news for you. 2 changes from each manager going into this one. Nigel Pearson was able to welcome back his record signing, Ismaila Sarr, and also Kiko Femenia. 2 players missing for Jurgen Klopp. That was Joe Gomez, who was out, and so too was Naby Keita. So Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain and Dejan Lovren came into the Liverpool starting 11. Your commentators at Vicarage Road, Andy Townsend and Peter Drury.
Nigel, so Liverpool unbeaten in 44 Premier League matches going into that. They'd won their last 18. So just as a pure achievement, how big is what you've just done?
I don't know, that's up for you to really, I suppose, talk about that. Look, it's such an important win for us. But it is one win. Our season's been tough so far. With losing last week and not playing particularly well, you know, we were keen to get a response in terms of performance. And when you play Liverpool, I mean, they are such an outstanding side. For us today, we had to get our performance right. We had to be 100%. Was close to our max as possible, and we were able to do that, and I thought we've thoroughly deserved the win. I don't think it was lucky at all. It was a hard fought win. I thought we threatened when we had the ball, and when we defended with a lot of discipline.
Have you felt, for example, at West Ham, against West Ham on Monday night, it wasn't your greatest performance of the season. Have you felt that as the season's gone on, it's become more difficult to keep winning?
Yes, I knew that it will be. It's always very difficult, but with all the things around, it's kind of extra motivation. Who can beat us the first time? Stuff like this, we don't have that. We just have to. It's like from you win a game and everything is fine. You win more games and everything is fine. You win a lot of games, unexpected number of games, and then it's like it's difficult. We are all human beings, but the boys did outstandingly well tonight. I don't think it has anything to do with the games we won before. Had nothing to do with the West Ham game. Training all looked like it should have looked. That's how it is. You have just you have to accept it afterwards. In the game you have to fight, and the boys fought because we were 3-0 down, but we still tried. No silly situations on the pitch that somebody was really frustrated and tries to kick somebody or whatever. No, if you win, do it with in the right manner. If you lose, do it like a man. So, and that's what we did tonight. We don't want to do that, and it feels exceptionally average, so it's absolutely not what we wanted to have, but we have to accept it now, and now let's carry on.
Jurgen Klopp tapes it in, and Arsenal's official Twitter page were quick to react with the message "few," of course, in relation to their 49 Invincibles record, now not going to be caught. 44 unbeaten for Liverpool before today. That is over. Their first Premier League defeat in 422 days. Now, before the game, I asked you both any chance for Watford. Categorically no for Owen. You said probably not. Could you see that coming?
Well, nobody could see that coming, or very few people, certainly. If you look at the games leading up to this, Liverpool have been beaten in the Champions League. They then got over the line against West Ham, and you could say quite fortunately, 2 goalkeeping mistakes for starters. So they're not coming into this in the best of form, but certainly, you know, there's no cause for panic, of course not. This was a game, you know, the league is already wrapped up, but or nearly wrapped up, but this was a game, of course, for other reasons, you know, to go unbeaten, to break even more records. But I was astounded, really, at both ends of the pitch. Liverpool at no point looked like scoring goals tonight, and at most points they looked like conceding. You know, the back four, Trent Alexander-Arnold in particular, looked a bit shaky tonight, and mistakes were there for all to see.
They restricted Liverpool to 1 attempt on target in the 90 minutes. So what did Watford do so well? today.
They defended incredibly well. I think Nigel Pearson said that was probably almost the perfect performance defensively in terms of concentration. They were compact, and they almost had the perfect players to play on the break. Deulofeu, while he was on, he caused Trent Alexander-Arnold a ton of trouble. Ismaila Sarr was absolutely unbelievable, 2 goals and assists, and Dini was the perfect focal point. Doucouré, who I thought was probably the outstanding individual player on the pitch, he didn't get any goals really or assists, but I just thought his running from the number 10 position caused Liverpool a ton of trouble. And I never watched Liverpool and think they got outfought in a game, but that happened a little bit today. They just were second best to second balls. They made mistakes for the goals, and I guess Jurgen Klopp said it in his interview after the game, get all your mistakes out in one game, and maybe that is the right way. They were beaten, but they've had an unbelievable season so far.
Yeah, they have. They're not used to losing games. Jurgen Klopp certainly isn't since he took charge at Liverpool. And actually, when you look at his heaviest defeats, this rings because Watford now responsible for 2 of them, both by a 3-0 scoreline, in his first season in charge, and then of course today's result. And that really does put the magnitude of today into context.
It does, and who'd have thought it? Watford going into this game second from bottom. We
2
always
points from 15.
That's right, yeah, in a bad run. Of course, that bounce factor that Nigel Pearson had at the start of his reign almost dried up and they were struggling again. But we always sit here and talk about how competitive the Premier League is. But almost we've been saying it with egg on our face this season, because it hasn't been. Liverpool have just run away with everything. They've beaten everybody that have been put in front of them. So, you know, today was almost back to the good old Premier League in many ways, where bottom are beating top and second from... I mean, only on Friday night we had Norwich beating Leicester. So it's all of a sudden, it's just been a great weekend for all the teams down at the bottom.
And Ismaila Sarr certainly had a day he'll remember for a long time, the record signing.
Yeah, he was outstanding. I think the only thing that if he can add to his game is goals and assists, and getting in there when the ball's on the other side as a right winger. That's great awareness. You know, Robertson just surprises him. You know, Lovren loses that little battle with Dini. Again, it was Doucouré driving in there, gets away from Fabinho. That's terrific from your wide player, getting in the box when you need to. And that summed up Liverpool really. They were second best in all those tiny little moments, and those moments added up. But Sarr was outstanding. I mean, we know he's quick, and we know he's got a big physical presence. But today, in terms of end product, he was outstanding.
And just to add to the remarkable stories, he'd never scored 2 league goals in the same game in his career, and he's just done it against the runaway league leaders.
Yeah, it's a coming of age of him, really. I mean, he has come for big money, so of course he's been well touted. He's shown performances to obviously get him this big move, but this was really a big night for him on the biggest stage against the champions-elect. And this is a great goal. Not only has he shown all his attributes here in the pace, but he's got the composure as well to finish at the end of it. Not many people do that to the likes of Virgil van Dijk, run away from them. I couldn't imagine Watford scoring from that situation. That's a bit fortunate. The ball takes a deflection off Robertson, but there's nothing fortunate about that finish. It's brilliant.
If he has a few more days like that, then the same way Mane left Southampton to go to Liverpool, if he plays like that against more teams, then he could easily leave Watford, because that pace and athleticism with the end product, that's what every team needs. And we saw, you know, you look at what Pepe cost, what was it, 70 million going to Arsenal. You know, that was a day against the best team in Europe, and he tore them to shreds, and people will take notice from that.
And he had a hand in the 3rd goal as well. But Trent Alexander's error, did that sort of compound Liverpool's day at this stage?
Yeah, and compounded Trent's day, really. He didn't get us forward as much as he could. I thought that the pace of the wide players almost pinned him back and didn't allow him to get forward too much. But of course, it was an error. It was a bad back pass. And then I thought he maybe should have reacted. Lovren, quite weak in this first challenge, gets nudged off the ball from Troy Deeney, but that's just a mistake. And then, as I say, he ambles back into position. I think he could have got a block on that if he had sprinted back in there. But that summed it up, really. Lots of mistakes from the back four of Liverpool today, and they got punished.
That composure there he's got there, the touch and to turn and then to set it for Deeney, he wouldn't have done that before. He would have lashed at it like he did at Anfield. You know, so it's adding that composure on that stage is a real sign of quality for him.
It's a horrible combination to face. I mean, I've spoken to lots of defenders, you know, since you retire, and the one thing that they don't like is a strong player that can really almost bully you out of the game, and pace. If you've got those two things, okay, I know it looks very pretty to have number 10s dropping off and dictating play and whatever, but if you ask any centre-half, they don't really mind it. They can see it. they can react, they can make, adjustments. But the people that really hurt them are the ones that run behind them and are very, very strong. And Watford's front line have got a mixture of all of that. Really, really difficult to play against them.
Talking of Troy Deeney, you go back to the first half, was he in any way fortunate still to be on the pitch?
I thought it was aggressive, let's put it that way. But we know Troy Deeney plays that way. That's how he is. He's always on the limit. I think from the first angle and in real time, the referee's right on top of it. You don't see it there as much. This one is, I think it's a dreadful challenge, to be fair. He didn't even get a yellow card, Steve. I mean, I think there's plenty of games in the Premier League this season that could have been a red. And he didn't get a yellow. And so, look, the refs, he's on there, and VAR, they didn't look at it, but I thought it was a pretty poor challenge.
Yeah, I thought it was a yellow. If I had to come down, I don't think VAR can really interfere in that, because unless they're going to say it's clear and obvious red card, then they're handcuffed him anyways. It's down to the referee at the time to see it, maybe play the advantage because Watford will get in the corner and then come back. And I thought, I said during the game it was probably an orange card if there was one. I think he probably should have had a yellow card for it.
OK, well, that third goal that Troy Deeney scored actually, as such as the fine margins down at the bottom of the Premier League, took Watford out of the bottom three and put Bournemouth in it, Aston Villa dropping as well. I mean, that's how tight it is on goal difference. They're out of the drop zone. When you look at the fixtures coming up, when you look at the potential belief they get from today, have they now got some momentum to pull away from safety?
Yeah, well, they definitely do. And I think you're looking at everybody from Brighton below. They're in that little block together, and Brighton are on a terrible run of form. Watford, with the confidence they'll get from this and their fixtures, you say Palace, Leicester, Burnley, Southampton, all those teams down there, they could easily get points off. And obviously it finishes quite difficult with Man City and Arsenal. But if you compare Watford's fixtures to Brighton's, there's a huge difference. And especially with the front four Nigel Pearson has, they're just so good, so athletic. If they defend like they did today, with the attacking players that they have, they should be absolutely fine.
Yeah, I think that's probably a standard, an average run-in, isn't it? There's some tough ones, but there's some ones where they'll look to get points too. But they wouldn't have expected anything out of today. So it just shows you the Premier League is unpredictable. But as Owen said, there's one or two teams down there that have got tougher run-ins from that. That's not an easy run-in by any stretch of the imagination, but there are definitely tougher ones to come.
But when you're down there, you're looking for a jolt in the arm of belief and confidence. It doesn't come any bigger than what they've done today against Liverpool, does it?
No, not at all. And also they got a really good goalkeeper experience in Ben Foster. They got a settled midfield. They got a settled team, actually. You look at teams now, they're still chopping and changing, trying to find what works. Brighton are one of those teams. I think for Watford, they have what works for them. We saw it today. Defensively sound, play on the counter. That works. And we said before the game, they have the most dangerous front four of any teams down there. That should be enough to keep them in the Premier League.
So as far as Liverpool are concerned, they play Chelsea next in the FA Cup, then Bournemouth in the league. Those two teams actually played each other today at the Vicarage